So you got all these kids out there now, and by kids I mean, you know, they're they're legally adults, but they haven't, they're still trying to figure out
They still have like a
life
soft spot.
in the back of their head. Yeah.
It hasn't formed yet.
And we're like, damn it, I did it again. Like, and we are,
Right.
and we're throwing all this at them. There's all this. It just seems like we're making it so complicated. Like,
I haven't even noticed until you pointed
can't
it
say it. We're making it. To me, it feels like overthinking it. It's just not that complicated. This is how I see it. Like, it's not that it's not that complicated. And we got married. I turned 22 a couple of days before we got married. First baby came pretty fast. Don't count the weeks. And I was completely unprepared. I didn't have any kind of
hell yeah.
I had gone to college a couple times, like for a few days, and I didn't really have any marketable skills, and I didn't have anything that was like a real job. I may still not. And I didn't have, at that point in time. Now this is back in 1988, which of course your kids were already grown by then, but
we actually waited on that a little while. I think we were 5 years into it before my wife came and said we had to have kids, and I said, "Why do we have to have kids?" And she said, "We have, for our old age." So my kids
That's why? Okay.
Yeah, my kids found that out, and now every time I do something they don't like, they threaten me with what nursing home they're going to put me in. So.
I really thought that sentence was going to say, and then my wife came and told me, there's something that we're supposed to be doing that we're not doing. So is that the thing? So you had kids? Well. So we were not in any way, shape, or form prepared to like live adult family life with children. Not only did we not have really any reliable source of income. I was basically doing I got the $5 an hour job now, and I'm looking for the $6.50 an hour. Yeah,
$5.25.
Yeah, what happens if I work a little extra hours? Yes. So we were by no measure prepared, but that was 36 years ago, and we just figured it out because that was what you did. That was just what you did. There wasn't any reason to abandon ship. Like, this is what we're doing now, so this is how we're figuring out. There seems to be a very different mentality now. The mentality now, to me, seems to be much more inward, self-focused. Like, this is what I want for my life, and now let me see how that fits with somebody else. Mm-hmm. Which was not the way we. Although they call Gen X the me generation, but I'm not sure I really agree with that. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm right between the boomers and the Gen X, but I don't know. What do you think?
Well, going back to being politically incorrect.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it was a religious thing.
Yeah.
They did. I don't know if Trevor can find this or not. And when you get
he can find very little.
When you get as old as I am, you lose track of time. But there was actually a Newsweek.
Russell, you're only 10 years old. You're 9 years older than me. Don't make it sound like it's that old.
There was a Newsweek article a few years ago, and I don't remember how many years ago, but they were talking about this very same topic, and they interviewed one guy who was in his 30s and he hadn't gotten married yet, and he said, if in order to have sex I had to get married, I'd already be married. But you don't have to get married to have sex anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
And that was now we, none of us were perfect or whatever. But I mean, let's face it. The bottom line was, for the most part, us guys were going after the gals, and they were fending us off. And you didn't, what's that old expression? Why do you have to buy the cow if the milk's free? I mean, if you wanted to have regular, consistent sex, you had to get married.
Yeah. Otherwise, it was problematic.
You know, and now you know it's not. I mean, you're Catholic.
Yeah.
Marriage is considered a sacrament.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, it's not and I tell you something else. For the most part, there was a show on TV back in the I guess 90s, and it depicted some town back in the 30s or 40s or whatever, and you know, it was, you know, fairly historically accurate and that sort of thing. But one of the characters came to town, and he kind of fell in love with this gal, you know, and then she found out he was divorced.
Oh.
And
I don't remember this. Do you remember this?
It was
a TV show?
Yeah, it was a TV show, and I can't. But you know, there was a certain stigma to divorce in say, the 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Oh yeah.
And when you get
More so if you were the woman. I mean, it was a little unfair in that way.
You know, well, yeah, because but I mean, when you got married, you got married. I mean, divorce wasn't an option.
Yeah,
that's another reason. You know, people don't want to make the commitment.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like everything you said there. I agree with it. I saw a stat once, it's fairly high, like the success of shotgun wedding or arranged weddings, certainly in India.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good. And I remember seeing an interview with they had grandkids. It was an older Indian couple, and they were talking honestly about and openly about, I didn't know him, I didn't know her, but I know that we were going to make this work. And you grow up and you become to love the other one. And I think there's a lot to that. I think it's fairly.
Don't do it in the Sudrati accent. I don't want to. We're gonna get in trouble.
Honest way.
So no, another aspect of that with in cultures like in India is that it's not just the couple. There's the very intense pressure from the families and the culture to stay together and make it work, whether you like it or not. And that's something we're missing in America. Is
we don't like that though anymore as a society. We don't like having an obligation.
Right. So now, like, you're missing. Parents are more, oh, you can, grow up and do what you want, and we're not going to judge you.
Now there are exceptions to the rule. Okay, and that, some people are out there already saying, they're already,
Sure, yeah.
I mean, a woman shouldn't stay in a relationship, with an abusive alcoholic husband who's beating the crap out of her every night. Those are, I mean, they're
or the other way around. Just ask Johnny Depp.
Yeah. There are exceptions to the rule, but when you got a 50%. That's roughly what they say these days, 50% divorce rate or whatever, that's not, that just has to do with people, just what you said, they're not willing to work it out.